Very good show for you today. We have crazy scores in the NHL, overtime victories. We have the NBA playoffs continuing on, baseball in full swing, and a very special guest we will get to later in the day or later in the show. We'll begin with NBA playoffs from last night, including a shocker of Game 4. New Orleans Hornets winning 93-88 over the Los Angeles Lakers. Highlights: Chris Paul records a triple-double, 27, including the 27 points, and Jared Jack hitting his one and only basket with the waning seconds of the game. Kobe Bryant also goes down with an injury, tries to play through the pain. Unfortunately, his three-pointer goes off the mark, and the Hornets tie the series up 2 games apiece, which for all the Lakers fans out there, I'm sorry, but looks like you're going to have to try a little extra harder in this series. Of course, that being said, my Dallas Mavericks blew a 23-point lead and failed to take a 3-1 series lead. Going back to Dallas, instead, that series is also tied 2-2, with the Portland Trail Blazers winning 84-82 on Saturday. Now, these two series, looking at every other series, and Memphis, San Antonio's 2-1, Oklahoma, Denver's 3-0, Miami, Philadelphia's 3-1, Chicago, Indiana's 3-1. The Celtics swept. I mean, I don't understand. These two games are definitely, so the third and second seed are in trouble in the West. Looking at these matchups, though, I feel like with both these teams going to home to play Game 5, it could really make a difference on what happens with Game 6. I'm likely to see the Lakers pull it out, but I don't know. The Hornets did actually beat the Lakers in Game 1. And with a performance like what Chris Paul had on Sunday, having a triple-double, it's very, very good for a point guard to have that, especially in his case. I could see the Hornets pulling off an upset in Game 5, seeing also how Kobe's in his very feeble state. But nonetheless, for the Dallas series, we do struggle with Portland, but nonetheless, I feel like we can pull it out. We're back in American Airlines Center. Have faith in my Mavs and Dirk Nowitzki. For the Boston-New York series, I'm sorry for New York fans that the Knicks have officially been knocked out after a 4-game sweep and a 101-89 victory yesterday afternoon. Despite Carmelo Anthony's 32 points, the Celtics were able to come back. New York was able to cut the deficit as much as 5. And then sure enough, a determined defensive-minded Boston team was able to strike back and stretch the lead out to 11 with about 2 minutes left, and that's all she wrote as the Celtics sweep the Knicks once again, advance to the second round to play the winner of the Miami 76ers series, which actually has to go one more game to South Beach, hopefully for you Miami fans, because Drew Holiday and company upset the Knicks in the in Philadelphia State, in Philadelphia Arena. So, of course, everyone's debating with the last shot. LeBron is 1 for 8. Dwayne Wade is 0 for 5, with a less than 3-point deficit in the final 10 seconds. Of course, that won't come into a huge play until about the semifinals of the conference, but nonetheless, you got to put the ball in Flash's hands. Dwayne Wade has carried the team. He's playing like he's been playing in 2006. Very dark and bitter year for Mavericks fans, but nonetheless, Dwayne Wade has been having a very stellar performance. Of course, another player had a stellar performance. Rajon Rondo with 20 assists in Game 3, I think. I mean, that is old news, but it is very important. He is actually the 4th player to have 20 assists in a playoff game, joining names like Oscar Robinson and company. Very nice for the Celtics. I feel the Heat will close out this game going back to South Beach. The Pacers did get a win over the Bulls, but of course, Derrick Rose continuing to wow America with his MVP-like numbers. I could see the Bulls and Thibodeau's team clinching this series as well in 4 games. And a very surprising series with Atlanta having a 3-1 lead going into Game 5 in Orlando. This team has been going under the radar the entire season. Jamal Crawford, Josh Smith, Jared Bayless. I'll just throw some names in there. Marcus Williams. This team is a very young, talented team, but the one key thing that I have noticed watching these playoff games is teams that have been together for the longest seem to do well. I'll take the Boston Celtics as my prime example every time, being able to go into the Garden and win 2 games. Looking at the Dallas-Portland series, both those teams, Dallas with the additions of Pedro Stojakovic and Tyson Chandler new to this year. The Trailblazers just got Joe Wallace, but they have Brandon Roy, Marcus Aldridge, Batum. This team and Nate McMillan have kept this team together for a while. Those teams are very successful. And I'll also say that with the Oklahoma City Thunder, because they are a team that, with Durant, Westbrook, with the addition of Kendrick Perkins, is a very determined team. Going with a 3-0 series, because everyone thought this Denver series was 7 games. It's going to be a very fun, fast series. Oklahoma City did survive the first game, barely, which is just enough, survive in advance. And they've been able to win by very small margins, but just like the Boston-New York series, they were able to win on very key plays, very clutch shots. Russell Westbrook delivering the punch in Game 3, and also in Game 1, a controversial goaltend that went in. Give Oklahoma City a 107-103 lead in Game 1, and a 97-94 win in Game 3. So, Oklahoma City plays tonight, 10:30 Eastern. Memphis, San Antonio plays today at 8 p.m. Eastern. And the Dallas-Portland back in D-Town for an 8:30 tip on NBA TV. Let's go to the National Hockey League now, where the Buffalo Sabres are able to crunch out a loss, though. The Philadelphia Flyers, Philadelphia Flyers were able to win the series, win the game 5-0. The Boston Bruins were able to win in overtime as well. We'll get to more hockey in a minute. As we will finish, we'll go back to hockey and all the other sports, including Jeremy Langanaga leaving and other stuff. But for now, we'll quickly transition to our guests on the show. Now, I've had a lot of, I'd say, important people on this show with wise sports knowledge, but I doubt I've had anyone with an impressive resume of averaging 20 points, 6.5 boards his senior year, named Oscar Robinson National Player of the Year back in January, has played in the NCAA tournament twice. He has 2-time All-Patriot League. He played in the Reese's College Basketball All-Star Game this year, and he became the 28th student to eclipse the 1,000 point mark back in March. And I'm very happy to welcome American's own Vlad Molovany to the show. And if you don't believe me that he is here, Vlad, thank you once again for coming on the show.
Oh, good morning. It was my pleasure.
I have to ask, you had a very busy month of April. How's everything been going training-wise ever since the season ended?
It's been pretty crazy. 2 workouts a day, plus the strength and conditioning stuff, and the PIT, the College All-Star Game, and of course I wanted to graduate on time, so I had to do my schoolwork, and I think I was the only guy doing homework at the All-Star Game, but I promised my mom I would graduate, so I have to stay in school and graduate, and now I'm kind of getting ready to transition to just a full-time professional basketball player.
I have to ask, for those 2 games, what was it like to play on the floor that the Final Four was played, that whole atmosphere of playing with guys like Andrew Godlick, Gray for Pittsburgh, Wanamaker? What was it like playing with those guys on that floor in that atmosphere?
Oh, it was great. I think the best part about it was kind of getting to see the Final Four games, kind of seeing the Butler practice right before we took the floor Friday, see how crazy it was, and I feel kind of bad didn't play in the Final Four, when I think back about it, and it's just I wish I could have played in the Final Four or like a Sweet 16, Elite 8, and but it was great. I mean, you can't really compare it to anything.
Also, for the Portsmouth Invitational, your team actually won that. What was it like to say that you guys are a winner of a prestigious post-college tournament?
I think we had a very balanced team. We didn't have those guys that everybody talks about, kind of taking a lot of shots, and I don't think we had a guy taking more than 13, 14 shots a game, and that's why we won. We all made a point the first day that we're trying to win this. That's how we're going to get the best attention from the scouts. Nobody's going to be at the early games. Everybody's going to want to see the semifinals, the championship game. So that's how we started. We started with the right attitude, I think. When we first met, we also want to win.
Because you're on a team with Rick Jackson from Syracuse, if I'm right.
Yeah, it was Rick Jackson, Frank Cassell from ODU, Jimmy Butler from Marquette. Who else was Chris Warren from Mississippi. We had a pretty good team, I think.
I'd say also back to the All-Star game in Houston. What was it like having Jeff Jones as being an assistant coach for your team?
It was. I think it was fun to see him that way. A lot more relaxed, and it was a different experience from what I've been dealing with in the past 2 years. But I don't think I like that. I wasn't used to it, and I don't think I like it.
All right, we got some questions from fans that submitted their questions on Facebook, and I'll start with Tom from Denver. He's asking, what is the process that you are going to participate and take to possibly enter the NBA draft, and what steps have you taken so far to give yourself the best chance possible?
Well, you have to stay in shape. So you have to work out every day. It's not really the off season. It's kind of getting ready for a job interview. All these guys are judging you. All these guys are picking on you. They interview you, kind of pick your brain, see what you're thinking, see what your basketball IQ is. Then they want to see you on the floor, and they want to see you in your best shape. Besides that, you just kind of get mentally ready for both sides. Not necessarily that I wouldn't make the NBA, but just because of lockout, you might end up in Europe anyway. So it's just getting mentally ready for what's gonna come next. I have no idea where I'm gonna be next. I have a couple offers from Europe, so I know that's pretty much set. I know I have a good idea where I could end up in Europe, which is really good. But regarding the NBA, I got a couple of teams that call me, that call my mom, they call my agent. That should start the workouts and the interviews and all that kind of stuff. That should start like May 4th, once the underclassmen kind of pull out or they decide whoever stays in. Because now until May 4th, everybody's looking at the underclassmen.